The morning in Switzerland was calm. A light fog still hung between the Alps, while the light of the sun slowly touched the calm lake like a mirror. In a small cafe overlooking the stunning natural landscape, two figures well known to music fans around the world sit side by side. They are Taehyung and Taehyung Jungkook. In their presence, 2 cups of warm coffee gave off thin vapors that swirled in the cold morning air. Taehyung seemed to enjoy the atmosphere leisurely, occasionally looking towards the snow-capped mountains. Jungkook, on the other hand, looked more silent, but the small smile on his face showed that he was really enjoying the moment. There were not many words they said, but the atmosphere created was warm and full of tranquility. Their trip in Switzerland was not very long, but it was full of moments that will not be easily forgotten. Many fans were shocked when news that Taehyung and Jungkook were spending time in the Alps began circulating on social media. Sketchy photos taken from a distance show the 2 global stars casually walking down a small street, dressed in simple but stylish winter clothes. For many people, seeing the 2 members of BTS enjoying time like regular tourists feels so special. They're not on the big stage, not surrounded by spotlights, and not in the hustle and bustle of the concert either. They are just 2 best friends walking among the mountains, enjoying the fresh air and freedom they rarely get at the small cafe. Taehyung is seen turning his coffee cup slowly. He then laughs quietly after Jungkook says something that is not heard by others around them. The cafe owner didn't even seem too aware that 2 of his guests were international stars. For locals, they are just 2 visitors enjoying a peaceful morning. But for fans, every little moment like this has a big meaning. Many said that their short trip in Switzerland seemed to be a much-needed respite after years of hectic schedules. Taehyung is known as someone who loves art and natural scenery, so it's no surprise that he seems so comfortable in a country known for its beautiful landscapes. Meanwhile, Jungkook is seen pulling out his phone several times, perhaps taking photos or recording a short video. He even managed to point the camera at Taehyung, who was looking at the lake. Taehyung, who realized this, immediately smiled and raised his coffee cup as if making a small toast in the morning. That simple moment may only last a few seconds, but for them, it is a memory that will always be remembered. After a story-filled trip in Switzerland, the fact that they will soon return to South Korea begins to feel closer. In recent days, news about their flight schedule to Seoul began circulating among fans. Although there is no official confirmation, many believe that their trip in Switzerland is indeed nearing its end. The makes the morning atmosphere in the cafe feel a little different. Taehyung stared at the mountains for quite a long time, as if trying to keep the scene in his memory. Jungkook also seemed more silent, occasionally taking a deep breath, enjoying the fresh, cold air. Switzerland is really beautiful, Jungkook finally said quietly, according to a visitor sitting not far from them. Taehyung just nodded, then smiled as he said that one day they might come back again. For 2 global idols whose lives are always moving fast, moments like this may be very rare. There was no rehearsal schedule, no official cameras following their every move, and no major pressure from the entertainment world. There are only 2 companions, 2 cups of coffee, and a soothing view of nature. Some fans who happened to see them from a distance chose not to come closer. They just take photos from afar and let Taehyung and Jungkook enjoy their time in peace. That attitude actually makes many people feel proud of the fans who respect the privacy of their idols. After almost an hour of sitting in the cafe, Taehyung finally stood up and put on his long coat. Jungkook also stood up while carrying a small bag that he had placed on the chair before. They briefly spoke with the owner of the cafe before walking out onto a small path that leads to the lakeside. Their steps slowly disappeared among the trees that began to be blown by the morning wind. There were no large crowds and no screaming sounds, only the sounds of birds and the water of the lake moving quietly. Perhaps for the world, there are 2 superstars who are always at the peak of popularity. But in Switzerland that morning, Taehyung and Jungkook are just 2 people enjoying their last cup of coffee before the long trip back to South Korea. And when they finally left the place, one thing felt very clear. The short trip in Switzerland may be over, but the memories they created there will live on. both for themselves and for the millions of fans who follow each of their stories with great care. Kim Taehyung and Taehyung Jungkook's walk down a small path by the lake was so relaxing. The morning breeze from the Alps blew softly, making the long coats they wore flutter a little. The serene atmosphere of Switzerland seemed to give room for both of them to really breathe a sigh of relief after a long time in the spotlight of the world. Taehyung occasionally stopped, looking at the surface of the lake that glistened in the light of the sun. He seemed to admire the beauty of nature around him. Not a few fans know that he does have a great love for artistic landscapes, photography, and quiet places. Jungkook, who walked a few steps behind him, then approached with a smile. "I want to photograph this place one more time," Jungkook said as he picked up his phone. Taehyung chuckled and stood near the wooden fence overlooking the lake, as if deliberately giving a simple pose to his best friend. Jungkook's phone camera captured the brief moment. Taehyung against a backdrop of white mountains and bright blue sky. For many, such a picture may be just an ordinary travel photo. But for BTS fans, a little moment like this feels precious. The two members of the world's largest group were seen enjoying their time without a stage and without large crowds. Soon they were back walking. The path along which they passed led to a small bridge connecting the park area with the main street of the city. There, some tourists seemed busy taking photos of the scenery. Some of them seemed to have glanced at Taehyung and Jungkook, as if they were familiar with their faces, but were unsure. This makes their journey feel more relaxed. There was no huge crowd chasing, no camera noise that kept beeping. Taehyung even stopped at a small shop selling local Swiss chocolate. He went in for a while and came out with 2 packs of chocolates, which he then handed one of them to Jungkook. On the way home, he said with a smile. Jungkook laughed quietly and nodded in agreement. They both knew that their time in Switzerland was really coming to an end. Their return to Seoul is fast approaching, and their lives as global idols are about to resume. But precisely because of that, every little step in the Swiss city feels so meaningful. They walked slowly, as if they did not want to rush to leave the peaceful atmosphere they had felt for the past few days to eye in the distance. Small church bells began to ring, signaling an increasingly busy morning for the townspeople. Taehyung paused for a moment to listen to the voice. Jungkook stood beside him, staring in the same direction. "This place feels like a movie," Jungkook said quietly. Taehyung nodded with a slight smile. "Yes, and we are almost at the end of the scene." The sentence sounds simple, but there is a note of nostalgia felt in it. They know that when the plane takes off from Switzerland, this short, serene trip will turn into a memorable one. But one thing is certain. A morning with a cup of coffee, a little laughter by the lake, and a leisurely step under the Swiss sky will be one of the stories they will always remember before returning to face the big world that awaits them in Korea.